The impact of Web3 will be truly felt when we move from bits to atoms. By attracting talent and showing what's possible, Web3 can move from digital world building to physical world changing. In short, it is time for Web3 to equitably build. Web3 is reimagining financial systems, creating digital art, and changing how we work. But the majority of this work has been done online, which, kind of makes sense. The promise of Web3 is decentralization. We can work with anyone, anywhere, at any time. There's not a lot of regulations, and there's a potential to build almost anything. It's much more straightforward digitally than when we are in the physical world. It's infinite possibility, little baggage, but it makes you wonder how long and how sustainable this change and impact is. To increase access and opportunity, the Web3 community faces a difficult task: creating change in the physical world for those who need it most. Now, I believe that Web3 has the potential to lift people out of poverty, provide professional opportunities, and educate the over half of children who aren't meeting basic standards now. But to do that, we need to apply Web3 to real-world problems. As Kevin Yoki notes, when we articulate how Web3 is having a positive impact in the world, it creates legitimacy. It's not just decentralized casinos. But time is of the essence. Web3 has potential to build a better internet and better human systems. We can reimagine industries like education in an equitable and impactful way. But when people only hear about the scams, they think about crypto, they think about people just trying to make a quick buck, they're going to be out. They're not going to give it a chance, right? If we wait too long or move too slow, the opportunity for this reinvention may pass. So now is the key moment to bring the ethos, technology, and ambition of Web3 to real-world problems. In other words, it's time for Web3 to equitably build. So let's talk about what that means. What does it mean to equitably build? Well, it's a lot easier to move bits than atoms. As internet companies show, we can quickly spin up new ideas and even new countries, right? But it gets a lot harder with atoms. When the digital meets the physical, things really slow down. There's challenges from regulation, from physical infrastructure, geography, legacy, all those things that make it hard to work in the real world. Plus, the communities who spend time more offline than online are sometimes harder to reach, often with a lower economic status. So to truly transform our physical communities, we have to do the hard work of building with bits and atoms. This is what building equitably means. And this is really inspired by the famous article written by Mark Andreessen, "It's Time to Build." He talked about during COVID that, quote, every Western institution was unprepared for the coronavirus. And part of the problem was imagination, but even more so, part of the problem was what we didn't do, which was preparing and building in advance. It wasn't for lack of knowledge, but rather that we couldn't or weren't willing to build. Because a lot of the challenging problems, the sticky problems, the supply chain, the masks, all of that is actually hard to do, right? But I think this is where Web3 can really step in and make an impact. Web3 does create choice. For people who are facing hardship due to war, climate change, poor financial systems, corrupt political systems, it offers a blueprint of how to control one's destiny. So by empowering individuals, Web3 has the potential to enable entire communities or countries to leapfrog the traditional stages of development and position themselves for the jobs and work of the future. But to bring this potential to life, we have to get physical. We need to equitably build. We can't just live online. We got to get offline and connect with these people in the way that they live, which is in the world of atoms. So to get there, we really need primitives and solutions. And then we know the market has been crashing in crypto. People are losing interest potentially because they can't make a buck anymore. But this is the time for builders to emerge, when we can come and create solutions that are working online, but also impacting the offline world. And I think these projects really fall into two big categories, which is primitives and solutions. So primitives are basically the building blocks of the future of education, what I call Ed3, right? Where Web3 meets education. So these are the standards, the systems, the infrastructure that we need to build the future solutions. Now, the solutions are the specific tools and products and methods that are being developed and launched into the world. So we really need both. And these really work together, right? We build primitives, then create solutions that create the need for new primitives. And it really makes me think of the early days of the internet. If you remember, HTML enabled visual browsers, right? And then these browsers needed encryption. So SSL was created. SSL unlocked e-commerce, which created logins and more, the need for more primitives. So we kind of see this back and forth between creating more building blocks and then creating solutions and then more building blocks. So let's dive in a little bit. What are the key Ed3 primitives that you need to know about? Well, there's decentralized identifiers, DIDs. This is the W3C standard that identifies a subject. There's verifiable credentials, VCs. This is the recommended standard credentials that are private and secure. There's Open Badges 3. This is kind of the OG of digital credentials developed by Mozilla, now managed by IMS. And the version 3 aligns Open Badges with verifiable credentials. Universal Wallets. This is a specification that creates a place to store everything online, like credentials, and it also allows you to sign for contracts online. Soulbound tokens. This is getting a lot of attention thanks to a recent paper by Vitalik, but they're non-transferable tokens that are stored on the blockchain. They could be used as credentials or identifiers. Trust registries. That's a network service of identifiers who can trust one another. So essentially, how can I trust that your course is good? Trust registry might be the answer. Talent marketplace could be a system that validates credentials. A skills library, another primitive. That's the classification of skills, so we can kind of connect what's equivalent to other things. There's LERs, learning employment records, or learning experience records, as they're now being called. This is a recommended practice to create machine-readable records that includes not only your academic work, but also employment, internships, other experiences. There's the CLRs, comprehensive learning records, which is similar, creating learning and employment records that are interoperable. There's the Internet of Education. This is the set of protocols that are based on open standards and public goods. There's also the T3 Innovation Network. This is a network of over 500 organizations working to build open and decentralized public-private data ecosystem that connects jobs with employers. So those are all primitives that are out there now. They're being developed that we need more people to help build. Now, these primitives are leading to really interesting solutions. And hopefully more people like you will want to join in and create solutions. So some of the solutions that are underway now that are really exciting include Disco.xyz. This is a backpack for your data that can be used for digital and physical data. There's also Credential Finder that translates current credentials into skills and competencies. There's the Ed3 DAO, which I'm a part of, a big fan of, that's certifying educators in Web3 so they can teach their students. There's MyGrants, which is out of Italy, that's training asylum seekers in high demand skills so that they can connect with job opportunities. And there's the Open Credential Publisher. That's an open source initiative designed to enable issuers to publish verifiable CLRs, those were learning records, to digital wallets. So there's a ton of solutions coming, but more are needed. And as we create these solutions, we're identifying additional primitives that are needed. Now, there's a lot of people coming into the Web3 space, which makes it exciting, but more talent is needed, and that could be you. And I think what's most exciting is that you don't need permission. All of this work is out in the open. It's on the blockchain. It's visible, and you can go see what's being done. And videos like this are being created. The entire Ed3 channel and my blog at ed3.gg is there to connect you with opportunities because we need talent, and we need talent to know what needs to get built. Now, I believe the destiny of Web3 is to build. Web3 is building a lot of things, but a lot of the things we're building are not impacting or are not connected to the real world. So I think the real impact of Web3 is going to happen when we move from bits to atoms. Now, when Web3 can move from digital world building to physical world changing, we're going to see the full potential of what's possible. Now, Andreessen notes in his article, It's Time to Build, as I mentioned earlier, that our nation and our civilization were built on production, on building. Our forefathers and foremothers, they built roads and trains, farms and factories, computers, microchips, smartphone, thousands of things that we now take for granted and that power our lives. The one way to honor their legacy and create the future we want for our children and grandchildren is to build. I believe that is the case right now with Web3. If you're interested in education, if you're interested in how do we reach more people? How do we make education more affordable? How do we improve the access? How do we improve the accreditation? The answer is to build it. We now have the primitives and we're starting to see solutions that can create this future. So the challenge now for you, Web3 builder, is to equitably build. I hope you'll join this journey. I hope you'll subscribe to this channel for more ideas. And I hope you will join us as we create the future we want to see.